Greetings, this is Darth Vader, and I would be honored if you would join me as we explore how my fate and the fate of the entire galaxy would have changed if Padme had joined me to overthrow the Emperor. Let us go back to that fateful day on Mustafar. Padme is confronting me about turning to the dark side and killing younglings. I explain to her that I am reshaping the galaxy in a way that is more favorable. She says that I am a good person and should not do this. She tries to convince me not to turn to the dark side. That is when Obi-Wan steps off of his ship. But this time, instead of strangling the only person I care about in the galaxy, like a dumbass, instead, I ignore Obi-Wan for the time being and turn my attention back to her, and I assure her that I am going to bring an end to the bloodshed. I am going to bring an end to the Emperor, and I am going to bring an end to the conflict in the galaxy so that we can be a happy family together. I tell her all that matters is having the power to save you. That is when Obi-Wan walks up to me and confronts me about killing the younglings in the Jedi Temple and betraying my oath as a Jedi. He tells me I've become the very thing I swore to destroy. That is when I turn around and I ask him a question. I say, Obi-Wan, those younglings who died, who brought them to the Jedi Temple? Obi-Wan says, the Jedi did. I ask him, I said, did those younglings have a choice to be in that situation? Did they volunteer themselves to join you? Obi-Wan says, no, but it was the will of the Force. And that is when I yell at him, you use the will of the Force to excuse immoral actions that the Jedi commit. I don't think the Sith are perfect, but the Jedi are not perfect either, and the Jedi at this point don't do anything to make the galaxy a better place. I then yell at Obi-Wan further. I yell at him and I say, you did nothing to save my mother, you did nothing to save the oppressed, enslaved members of the galaxy in the Outer Rim. All you ever do is strut around doing the will of the Republic and of the Senate like little puppets. All of the people you have killed in this war, you have done so because Palpatine and the Senate told you so. You're not driven by the light side, you are driven by Republic credits and whatever politician blows hot smoke up your ass. That is when Obi-Wan stops and pauses, because deep down, he knows I am right. He doesn't even have a retort. I look at him and I say, I thought so. That is when I grab Padme's hand, tell her I have a plan to overthrow the Emperor, but we need to move fast or we're all gonna die. So I lead Padme back into her ship and we break for Coruscant very quickly. When we get to Coruscant, we rummage through Palpatine's office while he is busy in his fight with Yoda, and we steal enough evidence to frame him as a Jedi. Bear in mind that I was there the first time when the Emperor framed the Jedi as being traitors, so it would not be that hard to doctor the footage and do the same to Palpatine, especially given that I found the lightsaber that he dropped on the ground in his fight with Mace Windu. So I drop Padme off at home and I reassure her that everything is going to be alright and that the next time she sees me, Palpatine will be dead. I then meet up with the 501st Legion and I show them Palpatine's lightsaber as well as footage that shows Palpatine using a lightsaber as well as the Force. I then explain to them, I say, listen up men, Order 66 is a standing order. We have evidence that the Emperor himself is an undercover Jedi. We need to move and move fast. They say, aye aye sir. That is when we march on the Senate chambers, while Palpatine is in the middle of delivering speech number 598. We march into the Senate chambers, and we storm in there completely unannounced. Now, bear in mind, the 501st Legion has clones with walkers, clones with jetpacks, clones with sniper rifles, clones with bombs, and they're being led by yours truly, the best tactician in the entire galaxy. And to top all of this off, the Emperor is still exhausted from his fight with Yoda, and so we have no problems. He gets smoked. Palpatine dies. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Jedi Order basically retreat to Dantooine. They gather all of the exiles and outcasts and form a new Jedi Order, one that has sworn that it will not be involved in the events of the galaxy any longer, but that they will basically go back to hugging trees and sniffing shrooms like they did all those thousands of years before. I assumed the role as Emperor of the galaxy, but that is when Mas Ameda, who also was one of Palpatine's assistants, decides to vie for the role and seize power for himself. He gathers about 12 loyal Imperial senators on his side, but as Anakin Skywalker, I have never met a problem that a little bit of violence wouldn't solve. So a slight force choke and a kick to the groin and a slap to the face, and that is enough to get Mas Ameda to bow down to me and obey my rule as the Emperor of the galaxy. Of course, Padme is a bit disappointed about the fact that I have decided to leave the Empire in place and take it over, because she was expecting me to turn the Empire back into a republic, but after a little bit of convincing and some excellent things that I have done to her, she decides that she sees it my way and is going to join me. Now, as an aside here, a lot of you are objecting to the fact of Padme joining me in the Empire because of her strong political ideals. But please bear in mind, this woman married me after I killed the Sand People in episode 2. This woman is head over heels for me. I am over 6 feet, I have unlimited stamina, and I have done wonderful things to her. She is absolutely addicted to me and will stay with me despite the fact that it may not align with all of her political values. So she basically becomes the Empress of the galaxy, with me as the Emperor. The first order of business that I take as the Emperor is I ban human trafficking, and I make trafficking children punishable by the death penalty, so nobody has to suffer in the galaxy like I did as a child. That means the Jedi Order recruiting children, banned. The slave traders on Tatooine, banned. In fact, they get the death penalty. The Black Sun gets banned as well, and we hunt them down to extinction. We basically clean up all of the crime syndicates in the galaxy, especially the ones that have made life rough for poor people, especially in the Outer Rim. Because I am a master engineer, I personally have a hand in building the Death Star, and I make it more efficient, and I make sure it gets built faster, because we've got some populations to wipe out. The Toydarians, the Nemoidians, the Geonosians, and the Hutts, genocide. The Sand People, genocide. I basically wipe out all of the groups that ever caused a problem for me when I was younger, or ever caused a problem for the oppressed poor people that the Jedi forgot about. The galaxy is a wonderful place, and I am admired for the work that I do. Please bear in mind something. Unlike this asshole, I don't actually kill people for fun. I only kill people that trigger my childhood trauma, which means most of the time I'm killing gangsters, thugs, and slave traders, which are bad guys anyway. So the galaxy sees me as a rough and tumble hero who is not afraid to take direct action to get things done. As for our children Luke and Leia, because Padme is around, she has a much stronger influence on how they turn out. They're not just warriors like their father. Instead, they are shrewd politicians like their mother. But because they have a strong gift in the Force, we decide to use that for our benefit. So Luke and Leia train in how to manipulate the minds of entire populations through battle meditation, force illusions, and all of the psychic powers at their disposal. They basically spend all day meditating in the Force as to how to make the Empire stronger and search out seeds of rebellion and quell them. We use the Force to manipulate entire species to sign peace treaties with us. We look through the Force for seeds of rebellion and have the rebels kill the despotic leaders in order to make the galaxy a better place. We are the most beloved and adored family in the galaxy because we create peace through Force, and the galaxy is prosperous because of us. And the Jedi Order, with its irrelevant values, is no longer going to factor in. Think about it. If the galaxy is prosperous under the Skywalker Empire, there is nothing the Jedi need to liberate the people from. So just like Darth Plagueis intended, the Jedi Order fades into irrelevance and extinction, and the Sith along with it while the Skywalkers reign supreme. And that is how things would have turned out if Padme had joined me in overthrowing the Emperor. Let me know what you think in the comments below.